Welcome to Smooth English. Today we'll tell the story of Bill Gates, one of the world's most famous computer pioneers. He co-founded Microsoft and changed the way we use computers. We'll explore his life, from his childhood in Seattle to his work as a philanthropist. Everything is in simple English with short sentences and clear explanations. Whether you love technology or just want an inspiring story, Bill's journey shows how passion, hard work, and kindness can make a big difference. Let's get started. Chapter 1: Early Years in Seattle. Bill Gates was born on October 28, 1955, in Seattle, Washington. His full name is William Henry Gates III. He is the son of William H. Gates Sr. and Mary Maxwell Gates. Bill's father was a lawyer and his mother was a schoolteacher and businesswoman. Bill grew up in a caring family. His parents encouraged him and his older sister, Christy, to read books and explore new ideas. Bill loved reading from a very young age. His favorite books were about science and history. He spent hours in the family library. When Bill was 7 years old, he started school at the prestigious Lakeside School. Lakeside is a private school in Seattle known for strong academics. There, Bill met teachers and friends who noticed his sharp mind. He did well in all his subjects, but he felt most excited when he saw a new classroom machine, a computer terminal. In 1968, Lakeside made a deal with a local company that had a time-sharing computer. The school paid a small fee and its students could write programs on that machine. Bill and a few classmates formed the Lakeside Programmers Club. Paul Allen, one of those classmates, soon became Bill's closest friend. Bill and Paul spent many evenings typing code. They wrote simple games and applications in a language called BASIC. Bill's first program was a version of tic-tac-toe. He was only 13. He felt proud when his program let two players play against each other on the screen. As Bill practiced more, he noticed he liked both the challenge of solving problems and the joy of making tools for others. He said later that those early hours at Lakeside were the start of his passion for computers. Outside of school, Bill took piano lessons and played sports, but he always saved time for programming. His parents supported him. They rented extra computer time and bought books about programming languages. Bill's room became filled with papers, computer printouts, and books. By the end of high school, Bill had written several small programs and had earned a reputation among local computer fans. He dreamed of writing software that would run on many machines. Little did he know that this dream would lead him to start Microsoft and to change the world of computing forever. Chapter 2: Harvard and the First Business. Bill Gates started college at Harvard University in the fall of 1973. He was only 17 years old. At Harvard, Bill studied math, computer science, and economics. He lived in a dormitory with thousands of other students from all over the world. Even at Harvard, Bill did not stop programming. He spent many late nights in the computer lab. He wrote code for small projects and helped other students fix their programs. His friends noticed his speed and skill. Bill loved solving computer puzzles more than almost anything else. In 1974, Bill reunited with his old Lakeside friend, Paul Allen. Paul had moved to Boston and was working on new computer ideas. Together, they saw a business chance. They learned that city engineers used machines to count cars on highways. The machines printed long lists of numbers that no one could read easily. Bill and Paul decided to help. They formed a small company called Trafodata. They wrote software to read the printouts and turn the numbers into useful traffic reports. They built a simple computer box to run their program. Engineers could now see charts of how many cars passed each hour. The idea was clever and useful, but the market was still small. While they worked on Trafodata, Bill and Paul kept dreaming bigger. In early 1975, they read about a new microcomputer called the Altair 8800 in a magazine. The Altair was one of the first affordable computers for hobbyists. Bill saw a huge opportunity. Every computer needs software, and no one had written easy-to-use programs for these new machines. Paul called the Altair maker, a company named MITS, and offered to create a basic interpreter for the Altair. BASIC was a simple programming language that many students and engineers already knew. MITS agreed to test their software. Bill and Paul wrote the code in just a few weeks. Their interpreter worked, and ran better than anyone expected. To sell their software, Bill and Paul opened a small office in Albuquerque, New Mexico, near the MITS factory. They chose the name Microsoft, a blend of microcomputer and software. In August 1975, Microsoft became their official company name. Bill decided to leave Harvard and move full-time to New Mexico. He believed personal computers would change the world, and he wanted to be part of that change. Leaving Harvard was a bold choice. Bill did not have a college degree yet. He risked his studies, his friends, and the comfort of campus life. But he trusted his vision. At 20 years old, he was ready to build a company that would bring software into every home and office. In just a few years, Microsoft would grow beyond Trafodata and become Microsoft. But at this moment, Bill and Paul were two young programmers in a small office, full of hope and ambition. They worked long hours on BASIC, on sales calls, and on new ideas. The road ahead would be challenging, but the first steps had been taken toward a new world of personal computing. Chapter 3. The IBM deal and Microsoft's growth. By 1980, Microsoft had moved its small team from Albuquerque to a new office in Bellevue, Washington. Bill and Paul still worked long hours among a handful of engineers and sales staff. Their BASIC interpreter was selling steadily, but they needed a headline project to reach a wider audience. That chance came when IBM decided to build its own personal computer. IBM wanted an operating system to control hardware, load programs, and manage files. Microsoft did not have one ready, so Bill negotiated the rights to a simple system called 86DOS from Seattle Computer Products. His team rewrote key parts, added new features, and branded it MS-DOS. This flexible system fit IBM's needs and gave Microsoft a foothold in the rapidly growing PC market. When IBM launched its PC in August 1981, it shipped with MS-DOS at its core. The new IBM PC sold faster than anyone expected, and Microsoft earned a fee on every copy of MS-DOS sold. That steady revenue let Microsoft hire dozens more programmers, open international offices, and invest in research. In just a few years, the company grew from a dozen employees into a global software organization. With fresh funding and talent, Microsoft widened its product line. In 1983, the team released Microsoft Word, a word processing program with a simple menu interface. Soon after, they introduced Excel, a spreadsheet tool that made charts and data analysis easy for home and business users. Meanwhile, Bill began sketching out Windows, a graphical layer that would let users click icons instead of typing commands. Under Bill's leadership, Microsoft's culture remained intense and idea-driven. Engineers stayed late tweaking code. Sales teams crisscrossed countries to demo new releases. By the mid-1980s, Microsoft was no longer just the Altair BASIC people. It was setting the standard for personal computing software around the world. Chapter 4. The Birth of Windows. In the mid-1980s, personal computers were growing fast, but they still used text commands on a black screen. Bill dreamed of a friendlier interface, one where people could click pictures instead of typing. He believed this graphical user interface would make computers easier for everyone, from students to small business owners. Bill gathered a team of engineers and designers to build this new system. They worked in a busy office near Seattle, sketching windows and icons on whiteboards. Every morning began with a review of progress and ended with late-night coding sessions. The team laughed over shared pizza boxes and cheered when a new feature finally worked. In November 1985, Microsoft released Windows 1.0. It was not perfect, screens could be slow, and some programs did not fit yet, but it was a milestone. Users could open multiple windows, move them around, and use a mouse to point and click. For many people, Windows felt like magic. The computer finally seemed to understand their intentions. Early reviewers had mixed opinions, but a growing number of hobbyists and small businesses tried Windows and saw its potential. developers began writing programs that took advantage of the graphical interface. Paintbrush let users draw with digital brushes. Notepad offered a simple way to write and save notes. Every new application brought more excitement and more users. Learning from feedback, the team pressed on. Windows 2.0 appeared in 1987 with better performance and more built-in programs. Yet the real turning point came in 1990 with Windows 3.0, which ran faster and looked sharper. The colorful icons and overlapping windows felt familiar to anyone who had used a school chalkboard or a desk drawer full of folders. By the early 1990s, Windows had become the standard choice for home and office computers. Bill's vision of a graphical world had come true. Families used Windows to pay bills, children learned to type, and artists experimented with digital painting. What began as a simple idea to make computers more human was now part of everyday life for millions around the globe. Chapter 5: Going Public and the Windows 95 Revolution. In March 1986, Microsoft sold shares to the public. Bill was 29 years old. Overnight, he became a millionaire. The new funds let Microsoft hire hundreds more engineers and open offices around the world. Through the late 1980s, the team refined Windows. In 1990, Windows 3.0 wowed users with better graphics and performance. Millions of people began using Windows at home and at work. The company's revenue climbed into the billions, and Bill felt both proud and determined to do even more. Behind the scenes, Bill balanced growth with vision. He pushed teams to move quickly, spending long days in meetings and late nights reviewing code. He cared about details, from the color of icons to the wording in error messages. His drive inspired loyalty but also created pressure. Employees worked intensely to keep up with his pace and ideas. The real turning point came on August 24, 1995. Microsoft launched Windows 95 with a global marketing event. Streets filled with banners and big crowds lined up outside stores. The new Start button and taskbar made it easy for anyone to open programs, play games, or browse the internet. Families cheered as they explored the colorful desktop for the first time. Windows 95 sold more than 1 million copies in its first 4 days. Microsoft grew into a household name, and personal computing entered a new era. Bill's vision of a friendly, graphical interface had become the standard for millions of users. At 39, he stood at the top of a company that shaped not just technology, but how people live and work every day. Chapter 6: Antitrust Challenges and Philanthropy. In the late 1990s, Microsoft was the world's biggest software maker. Many companies and governments began to worry that Microsoft had too much power. In 1998, the U.S. Department of Justice and several states sued Microsoft for antitrust violations. They said Microsoft used unfair methods to stop competitors from selling their software. The court case lasted more than 2 years. Bill spent long days giving testimony and meeting with lawyers. News reports and public debates put Microsoft under a bright spotlight. In 2000, a judge ruled that Microsoft had broken U.S. antitrust law and should be split into 2 companies. Microsoft appealed the decision and, in 2001, reached a settlement that kept the company intact but imposed rules on its business practices. The antitrust challenge was a turning point for Bill. He saw that great success could bring tough scrutiny. Around the same time, he also began thinking deeply about his responsibilities as a leader and as one of the wealthiest people in the world. He and his wife, Melinda, shared a vision: use their resources to help solve big global problems. In June 2000, Bill and Melinda founded the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. They chose 3 main areas to focus on: global health, funding research to fight diseases like malaria, polio, and HIV; global development, supporting farming and clean water projects in poorer countries; U.S. education, improving schools and teaching methods for students at home. The foundation grew fast. Bill stepped down from his role as Microsoft CEO in 2000 and moved to a new position as chairman and chief software architect. In 2008, he left day-to-day operations at Microsoft to spend more time with the foundation. He remained on Microsoft's board and served as a technology advisor. Today, the Gates Foundation is one of the largest private charities in the world. It works with governments, nonprofits, and scientists to save lives and expand opportunities. From vaccinating children to funding scholarships, Bill's second act shows how vision and hard work can extend beyond business into lasting human impact. Chapter 7. A New Era: Innovation, Philanthropy, and Legacy. In 2008, after more than 3 decades of building Microsoft, Bill made a bold choice. He stepped away from daily work at Microsoft to focus on solving the world's biggest problems. He believed that his greatest chance to help was through ideas, science, and teamwork. This new path felt both exciting and challenging. Under Bill's guidance, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation grew into a hub for bold solutions. Together with Melinda, he spearheaded efforts to develop low-cost vaccines and help countries deliver them to every child. Support small farmers with new seeds and training to grow more food. Fund scholarships and teaching programs that encourage students to dream big. In the 2010s, Bill launched several initiatives beyond the foundation. He helped fund TerraPower, a company designing safer, cleaner nuclear reactors. He co-founded Breakthrough Energy, a network of investors and scientists working to cut greenhouse gas emissions. He also wrote a book, How to Avoid a Climate Disaster, sharing simple steps anyone can take to protect the planet. Even as he pursued climate and health projects, Bill never lost his love of technology and learning. He published essays on his blog, sharing lessons about coding, reading, and the future of artificial intelligence. He encouraged young learners to ask questions and collaborate, just as he had done in his garage with friends. Today, Bill's story is more than a tale of business success. It's a reminder that curiosity, hard work, and a caring heart can shape our world for the better. Long after computers boot up or vaccines roll out, his greatest legacy may be inspiring others to imagine and build a brighter future. Chapter 8. Amplifying Impact, 2008 to 2010. In mid-2008, Bill stepped away from daily Microsoft life to devote himself full-time to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. He exchanged suit meetings for strategy sessions on global health, development, and education. His days were now filled with data on vaccine trials, interviews with public health experts, and visits to partner NGOs. One flagship effort was Gavi's Vaccine Alliance. Bill worked with governments and pharmaceutical companies to slash vaccine costs for children in Africa and South Asia. By 2010, the alliance had immunized more than 300 million kids against diseases like rotavirus and pneumonia, saving countless lives. On the development front, the foundation launched AGRA, Alliance for a Green Revolution in Africa. Bill traveled to Kenya and Ethiopia to meet farmers testing drought-resistant seeds and low-cost irrigation. He listened to their challenges, then helped fund training programs so farmers could double harvests and lift families out of poverty. Back in the U.S., Bill funded the College Ready Education Initiative, partnering with school districts to improve reading scores and teacher training. He wrote commuting emails to superintendents, always emphasizing clear goals and measurement. His mantra, "If you can't measure progress, you can't scale success." By 2010, the foundation's annual grants exceeded $3 billion. Bill's transition from software architect to global problem solver was complete. He showed that the same curiosity and rigor that built Microsoft could also dismantle barriers to health, wealth, and opportunity around the world. Chapter 9. Climate Innovation and AI Advocacy, 2011 to 2025. In the 2010s, Bill Gates turned much of his curiosity and risk-taking energy towards solving climate change. He co-founded TerraPower, a company developing next-generation nuclear reactors that promise abundant, carbon-free energy. Soon after, he launched Breakthrough Energy, a network of investors, scientists, and entrepreneurs focused on cutting greenhouse gas emissions across sectors like energy, transport, and agriculture. These efforts reflect his belief that advanced technology must work hand-in-hand with policy and funding to scale clean solutions. He also backed novel carbon removal ventures. Through Cascade Investment LLC, Gates quietly poured capital into startups turning waste plant material into solid bricks that lock away CO2 underground. This approach blends old-school engineering with a futuristic mission: make carbon removal affordable and deployable worldwide. Parallel to his clean energy push, Gates has become one of the world's most prominent voices on artificial intelligence. He praises AI's potential to revolutionize education, healthcare, and productivity, calling it as big as the internet or the PC revolution, maybe even bigger. Yet he also warns about misuse. Governments and tech companies must safeguard against misinformation and job displacement as AI systems spread into every industry. In 2025, he even released a deeply personal memoir reflecting on these decades of innovation and advocacy. Far from slowing down, Bill continues to believe that breakthroughs in science and computation can unlock a net-zero future. If we're willing to fund good ideas, embrace risk, and keep asking hard questions. Chapter 10. Evolving Philanthropy and Global Challenges, 2015 to 2025. As the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation marked its 25th anniversary in May 2025, Bill and Melinda announced a new commitment: spend $200 billion over the next 20 years to accelerate their mission of health, development, and education worldwide. This doubling of funding underscores how their philanthropy has grown from saving lives with vaccines to tackling deeper systemic issues. During the COVID-19 pandemic, the foundation pivoted swiftly, investing in mRNA platforms that now form the backbone of rapid response vaccine technology. They partnered with governments to bolster global surveillance, build manufacturing capacity, and train health workers. As a result, nations were far better prepared for subsequent outbreaks. Education became equally urgent. The foundation funded digital learning platforms, teacher training initiatives, and low-cost tablets for students in remote areas. Gates has emphasized that bridging the digital divide is essential. When schools closed, millions of children lost more than classroom time. They risked falling permanently behind. Beyond health and education, the foundation launched new calls to action on financial inclusion and digital identity. By supporting mobile money systems and foundational ID schemes, they aim to unlock economic opportunities for the world's poorest families. Bill's philanthropic evolution also includes the Giving Pledge, an invitation to other billionaires to commit half their wealth to charity. Since its 2010 launch, more than 200 signatories have joined, reflecting his conviction that great wealth carries great responsibility. Today, Bill Gates's work spans the arc from frontier science to grassroots impact. Whether funding a startup that turns CO2 into rock or empowering a Kenyan farmer with digital tools, he continues to apply the same analytical rigor and relentless optimism that built Microsoft. Only now, his ultimate product is human potential. Bill Gates's journey took him from a curious boy coding in his school's computer lab to a global innovator and philanthropist. He co-founded Microsoft, transforming personal computing with operating systems, Office suites, and the Windows interface. He faced challenges: court battles over antitrust, fierce competition in technology, but he always remained guided by curiosity and a drive to solve big problems. Through the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Bill shifted his talent for strategy and innovation towards saving lives and expanding opportunities. From vaccine campaigns to climate technology, his work spans the realms of health, education, development, and clean energy. His story teaches us that with passion, perseverance, and a caring heart, one person can change the world. As you finish this biography, remember, every idea starts with a question, every problem with a spark of curiosity. What puzzles will you solve? What good will you bring to the world? Let Bill's life inspire you to dream big, work hard, and believe in the power of collaboration. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story of Bill Gates, please like this video to let us know you care about accessible biographies. Subscribe to our channel for more simple English stories about inspiring people. Hit the bell icon to get notified whenever we post a new chapter. Leave a comment below. What part of Bill's journey inspired you the most? Share this video with friends who love learning English and stories of innovation. Stay curious, keep learning, and we'll see you in the next video.